Hello Reborners, my name is Karen and this is Making Dolls with Karen. For the time being, I have put up Kate. She's nowhere near finished. I need to think about her a little bit more. I'm considering stripping her and starting over. I just don't know what to do next on her. I just don't understand what I'm doing wrong. Evidently there's something. But anyway, I've got another baby on the table. We're going to go back to some heat set on her. She's already sealed. It's Emma. She's an older kit from Bountiful Baby, and she was discontinued a long time ago. I don't know why. I never even noticed when she disappeared. I just noticed one day she wasn't there anymore. And I can't even find her in the discontinued kits, which means she's been discontinued a long time, like Asher and a few of them others that have 3/4 limbs. And she had 3/4 limbs, well, arms. Her arms were 3/4. These are her original legs. But these are not her original arms. You can tell by the difference in the color. This is kind of pinky and this is kind of white, beigeish, I don't know. But these are Anna's limbs. I just took her 3/4 limbs and, they don't have a shoulder really. They're like chopped off like right there. And then they just have a flange sticking up. And anyway, I tried to compare them to some limbs I thought would be about the same size. And Anna's about the same size doll as Emma anyway. I'm going to put a little more stuffing in her head. She don't have enough. And so I just swapped them. There'll be a slight, and on this, I mean, when I say slight, I mean very, very slight difference in the color of her limbs. Well, her arms from her head and her legs. But you won't be able to tell it really. You'd have to actually place her arm up against her leg, and it's very, very minute. Not even worth noting really, but I did note it. We're going to do her with our old standby of heat set because I understand that. I need to watch some videos or something on that other paint because I'm not getting something right. I just don't know what it is. I'm not understanding how to mix it or how to use it or something. There's something I'm not doing right. Anyway. We're going to get started on Emma, not to be confused with Emmy. They're two different kits. Emmy's finished. Emma's not. I think Emmy looks real good. I like the way she looks. I covered up that burn mark on her head very well with a baby scratch. Oops. I forgot I put glue on her. And now she's getting it. I glued her rim so it'll slip around in the body real good. And then I touched it down to the paper towel. Anyway, we're going to get started on Emma here. We're going to do her blue first. I'm going to put some blue in the corner of her eyes. We're going to try to make her the best looking baby we can. I totally understand how to use this paint, so shouldn't be a problem. I need some brushes, some sponges though. I either moved or threw away all the sponges I had out because they were very, very embedded with paint. And when they get that bad, I just like to start with a new sponge. That looks good so far. She has a slight little wrinkle on her nose. I don't know if I want to actually put some purple there or just go on and do it with this blue. It's so tiny. I'm just going to go on and do it with this blue. Usually people do enhance that a little bit, either with blue or purple, because they're both kind of shadowy. But the blue has an extra added thing that the purple doesn't have. It actually counts as an undertone. Well, people use purple for undertones too, but I just use them for shadowy effect, like in frowns and stuff. And if you're putting it on your doll, the blue, I mean, if you're putting blue on your doll like I'm doing right now on her forehead, you're going to leave more than just a shadow. You're going to leave an undertone that looks like where the skin is thinner than other places on the doll, on the baby, rather, where you can see a little bit of blood flow or something, you know. And it's going to leave just a little bluish hue to her forehead a little bit. And this is not showing well, but it's showing enough. You can't see it, I'm sure. If you can see it, it's supposed to be too dark. You might can see that it's wet-ish. It's not real wet because I'm using dry painting, but it's it has a sort of shimmery look to it, and it should look a little shadowy there. So that is her first face colors. Also, as well, I like to put blue on the bottom of their feet. There's a little spot on the bottom of the feet. It's right where this arch is. Babies don't really have an arch, but they've given these babies arches. Babies actually have very solid, straight, they have a big pad of fat on the bottom of their feet. So the arch should not even be there, but it is, and it's a spot on the bottom of the baby's foot where there's usually a little bit of blue too. And so I'm putting a little bit of blue on the bottom of this foot. I wanted to show a little better than that though. Let me get another brush here. You should be able to see that, but I haven't dabbed it yet. After you dab it, it pretty much doesn't show that well. And even if this did show on camera, I wouldn't think it was too dark, because after all the colors come up on it and get put on this doll, the blue doesn't show that well anyway. Unless you're just making it super dark. If it shows very lightly on camera, it's okay, I think. I just don't think it should be dark. People do want to see it when that's the point of putting it on there. It's not supposed to show boldly though. I don't know if you can see that or not. I think you can. I think I can, just in the image I'm seeing on the screen there. But that's about all the blue I do. The next color would be purple, and even though she does have a bit of a frown, I could enhance her face slightly with a little purple here. Right here above her brow line where the little frown indentation is. That doesn't have any color in it at all. Did I even dip my purple brushes? I don't know. That one has some color, so I must have dipped some of them. Purple is a versatile color. Sometimes you can use it instead of red. If you want to say, for example, you want to make her, okay, so you can see now that she has a little bit of a shadowy effect right up here above her brow line, where those little indentations are that could be frowns. It won't show boldly, but it will show a little bit different color than the rest of her face. For example, if you wanted to make the nose pinkish looking, but you didn't want to put a lot of red on her face, you can actually put a light coat of purple on there, and it will darken that area so that when you're putting other paint on there, it will look a little bit darker. And this is eyelid purple that I'm using, so, you know, it's supposed to, something has to be on the eyelids. If you don't put something on it, it's going to look so pale and whitish up against the rest of her face that you're not going to be happy with it. But if you notice, after I put this on the eyelids and dab it a little bit, it almost looks like a very light coat of the red. It almost looks exactly the same. I mean, I would do the red a little bit darker than this, but we don't want super purple eyes like she's wearing purple eyeshadow. So I use it very, very sparingly. I probably will swipe her eyes again with a little bit of red when I start the red on her face, but also as well you could paint her ears, her lips, one coat of this light purple, and it would make it become darker when you add the lip color. It darkens whatever you put on top of it. But I don't really like that purple color, not much, so I don't put a lot of it. I'm going to put some purple inside her nose to get a start on the nose color. If you don't color the nose at least some, it's going to be almost just bare vinyl color when you get finished, and it's going to look really strange, especially since the face is one of the places I put the most accents on. I don't put much on the rest of the body, but I do put it on the face. And I like the face to have color, and if you can't see anything in the nose, it just looks like you didn't paint it at all and it's kind of white, and I don't like that look. Okay, so now we're going to move on to some blush. Uh, I'm a little bit reluctant to put it straight on her face since I just put the blue on, so I'm going to let her sit a minute while I blush up her hands and her feet a bit. What I'm going to do is I like to either with closed hands like this where you can't even see the fingers hardly, I just usually pink the whole entire finger. But when they have an open hand, I like to pink like inside of these little areas separately. It almost looks like stripes, but it comes out really cute on a doll. But since hers are closed, you can't do that. It's really, really hard to even paint them at all. So I'm just going to pink her entire fingers. I'm just going to get a brush out of here, and I'm just gonna sort of brush it up and down on her fingers like this and get them pink. Now remember, if you're doing the entire fingers front and back, you need to do the sides as well. If you're just doing the inside of the hand or just the outside of the hand, you don't necessarily have to do the sides of the fingers, but you absolutely have to if you're doing the entire finger, because if you don't, it just looks really strange. To have just the front and then just the back painted, which is what you're going to have if you don't do the sides as well. Sometimes as you're doing this, you'll get some where you don't want it, but this paint is very, very easily removed while it's not super dry. You know, if you just leave it a day or two on the table, it's going to dry out a bit. You could still remove it, but it wouldn't be as easy as it is right now. Right now, I'm just dabbing it and most of it's coming off. So you have to be careful how you do this paint. You don't want to do it too dark and make it grainy looking. That's why I'm dabbing it. It looks a bit grainy because I just really, really applied it heavy. And but if you do get it too grainy, you just know you can just pretty much wipe it off. And if it is dry, if you haven't baked yet, you can still wipe, I'd say at least 99% of it off. You might be able to wipe it all off with just a little bit of paint thinner on a sponge or something. But once you've baked it, you got to strip the doll if you want it off. And if you try to strip just the hands or something, you're going to end up getting it all over the doll, and you're going to end up needing to strip the whole doll anyway. So you might as well just go on and just decide you're going to strip the whole doll right from the get, because you're not going to be able to get just the fingers, just the little too much you have on there stripped off, if that makes any sense. I'm just lightly tapping this because some of it is a harsh looking. Sometimes with this paint is still obviously a little wet. It must be a brush I used for wet painting yesterday or something, because this is very wet. So it's not behaving the same as the dry paint usually does. So yes, I'm going to have to let it sit a few minutes and possibly bake it before I put any more on, because the more I dab it, the more it's coming off. And as it's coming off, it's difficult to explain. The wetter the paint is, the more movable, I guess you'd call it. It's movable around, and the sponge will soak it up and take it right off. And if you put it on thick to try to make it darker, it's grainy looking. And so you have to either not use the brush because it's too wet, or you have to put it on a little at a time and bake it. That's why sometimes you see me do 2 rounds of enhancements instead of just 1. Now on the feet, I'm going to paint the entire bottom of the foot, toes and everything. Now this is one of those instances where, because I'm only doing the bottom of the foot, I'm going to do the toes front and back. So I'm going to do the sides of the toes. But because I'm only doing the bottom of the foot, I don't really need to do the sides of the foot unless I just want to. You just do the part you want to. And we can do that anyway, but it's going to look funny if you... and I'm skipping the part where I put the blue right here. And I'm just going around it with the pinkish. This looks pink, but it's really not pink. It's a real bloody looking red color. It's really dark, but it's just going on light, so that makes it look pinkish. If you actually mixed up pink and put it on your doll, you'd have a Barbie doll or something. Barbie pink is no color to be putting on your doll. Pink does not belong on your doll. The red will look pink enough. See, I just did the bottom of the foot. I didn't do the top of the foot. But I am going to do the toes, front and back and sides and everywhere, because I want the toes to be pink, like the fingers are. I love it when they have pink little toes. They're just cute that way. Now, when she comes out of the oven from this bake, we'll be doing a little bit of touch up on some of her enhancements, and I'll be creasing her. I really love the way Emmy got creased. She got creased very, very well, I thought. I creased her very first before I did anything else and went on and baked her. And it really sealed it down. And it lasted through all her layers of paint, and she looks creased and cute now. Okay, there's her toes. I don't know if you can even see it really. I really love the way heat set paint works. I totally understand it, and I totally know, I just know just everything about it. And so there's no surprises really. Every now and then I'll get a surprise, but I know how the paint behaves under all conditions. I know if it's something's too dark or too light just by looking at it. I totally get this paint. This is one reason why I have not been very speedy to want to try some more air dry paint, is because I don't understand that paint. There's a learning curve, and I just don't know if I can pick it up. You know that saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, this old dog, I don't know if she can learn any new tricks. I'm going to try to finish Kate. And if you haven't seen Kate's video, I'm not going to recommend that you watch it because it's pretty bad. I've had some comments from some air dry artists saying that she looks good, but I know what I see when I look at her. She does not look good. I don't like the way she looks. On camera, she may look different. I haven't actually watched my video where I was showing her to the camera and stuff. I just know what I see with my eyes right in front of me and up next to a doll that I painted with heat set. She looks absolutely horrible to me. I just don't like the way she looks. I think she's too pale. I really don't know what colors to do. I don't know how to mix the paint right. I don't know anything about how to use this paint. I thought I was following the directions to the letter. And then when I started applying the skin tone, it seemed too thick and globby to me. I followed the instructions exactly what it said on the paper, and I made sure I was putting the right amount of water, the right amount of the little, I don't know what you call them, the little additives that you add to the paint, and the right amount of paint. And it just seemed thick and gooey as I was putting it on the doll. And I was unable to spread it out fast enough before it dried. I guess I'm too slow. I even put the slow dry in it to make it dry slower, but it just, if it dries faster than that without slow dry, you can hang it up. I can't do it. I'm a pretty fast painter. I go a lot slower on this video because I have people watching me. But when you're just sitting here on your own painting, I can do it pretty fast, but not that fast. Yeah, this is grainy too. But so I've put her up for right now. I'm going to be thinking about some of the things that that I've already done and what I think I did wrong, and I possibly may go to some sites and watch some videos that other people did with waterborne paint to see how they made their concoctions. I just don't know how thin is too thin, because everything I've mixed so far seems to be too thick to me. It just is thick and gooey. And I got to where I was almost filling this whole syringe up with water. And this is a 5 milliliter syringe. That's like, I don't know, is that a tablespoon? I don't know, I can't remember. But 5 milliliters is, to me, a lot to put in 3 or 4 drops of paint. And I was almost putting that much in there. But yet, at the same time, the paint still seemed too thick to me. And I don't know if I'm trying to think of the name of that other thing I added to it besides the slow dry. Oh, that's going to drive me crazy now. I know the slow dry didn't make it dry anything that I would call slow. It dried immediately, very, very fast. And oh, the flow medium. I wasn't getting any effect from that either. As I was wiping it onto the doll, it just streaked, kind of. It didn't flow smoothly over the vinyl like I thought it was supposed to. I don't know. I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I'm not mixing it correctly. I call myself mixing it up really, really good. I just don't know what it could be. That looks pretty good to me. Um, but all I know is she doesn't look good. And I just need her to look good. Okay, I'm going to be coloring up on her face a little bit now. What I'm probably going to do is color her ears a little bit, her nose a little bit, and rose her up. I like them to have a lot of red on their face. And so I'm going to do that. Anyway, after I got several coats of paint onto Kate, I noticed that she was collecting some dust, or was it just specks of fuzz, or I don't know what it was. It just looked like something was sticking to her. And I couldn't seem to get it off. I tried wiping it off. I tried rubbing it with a sponge to get it off. I even tried a toothpick to flick it off. But it seemed like it was glued down to her to me. I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about. It just seemed super stuck to her. So I remembered back when I was talking about maybe doing some air dry experiments, and I hadn't really ordered any paint yet, and somebody commented and said, oh, I said something about you can remove it with alcohol. She said, no, you can't. It dries and it's permanent, and then you can't remove it with alcohol. I don't know how long you have to let it dry to do that, but I just assumed that once it was dry, it was permanent. So I had left her overnight at least. I know at least that long, maybe longer than that. But I decided, I know what I can do. I'll just put a little bit of alcohol on one of these sponges, and I'll wipe her down with that. And I just put a very, very tiny amount, and I'll just wipe her. And the wetness of the alcohol cleans my heat set dolls really well. And so I thought, okay, it won't take it off of the heat set doll, and she said it wouldn't take it off of a air dry doll either. So here I go, and I wiped her just on the very back here by her rim, to make sure that if it did come off, it was in an inconspicuous place where hair was going to be. And it was coming off. So I stopped that right away. And so I said, well, I can't get it off with that. Maybe just plain water. I haven't tried that yet. But I just became a little bit upset over the fact that it was taking the, I mean, it's no big deal because I'm going to put hair on her, so it won't show, but still it kind of bothered me that it was coming off with water. I mean, alcohol, because that means it's delicate to me. I know dolls are considered delicate to begin with, but, well, I've got a little bit of something in her ear. There we go. And you're supposed to treat them as a work of art, and possibly alcohol's the wrong thing to wash them with, but I've never had any problem with it before on my heat set doll, so I just decided to try it on that doll, and it was a problem. But anyway, I'll figure something out. If I can't make her look right, I'll just strip her. I'm thinking about doing that anyway and just starting from the beginning again, because I just don't know. I don't know. I'm lost. I got lost in the process. I don't know where I really stand with her painting process. I don't know if I should continue on, which I don't know what to do next anyway, or if her first layers, her first colors weren't done well enough. Maybe I need to go back and put more of them. I just don't know. I just need somebody to say, oh, I see what you mean. Yes, yes, you need more of this. Or, no, no, put this instead. You know. But I just don't know that anybody on a camera can see well enough as to what the doll looks like to be able to say she needs more blush or she needs more skin tone, because it's very hard. I've noticed other artists when they post their dolls in the doll group and they say, what do y'all think she needs? And I'm going, I can't really tell what she needs, because she looks to me like she needs everything, because you barely can see the paint sometimes on camera, and it's very, very difficult to, like some people say, okay, she looks orange. She might not look orange in the picture, but right here in front of me, she's very, very orange. What do I need to do? And so you're going, okay, she doesn't look orange at all to me, but okay, this is the magic of photography, I guess. It doesn't show everything. And I know that's true with this doll, because when I look at, I snapped a picture of Emmy and Kate side by side with just my phone. And then I looked at the picture, and they look in the picture to be very, very similar. But in real life, in front of me, Kate just doesn't look painted hardly at all. To me, she looks like a doll that you only put a tiny, tiny bit of paint on and then just didn't finish her. And she still almost looks like bare vinyl. Yes, she has a color to her, but her color is not, it's not right. I don't know how to explain it. Oh, wow. This was a mistake. Don't paint your doll with a fat paintbrush on their lips, because you're going to get a mess that you have to clean up. You have to touch it up too much. But this is going to help the other color stick better when I get ready to put it on. Swirling some of this color in her eye, in her nose as well. And I'm going to put a little bit on her eyelids, because, well, they're just too light still. I don't want them really, really dark. I just want them to not be real white colored. And that looks pretty good to me. so far, I think. Now I'm going to try to rose her up a bit. Her ears look pretty good. Her everything. Oh, I didn't do her nose. I don't know what to do about her nose. If this is going to make a really dark nose, I'm not going to be happy with it. And it looks like it's going to. She's going to have a bloody red nose like Rudolph. So we'll be dabbing that too. Just want it kind of pinkish. I don't want it that dark. There we go. That's pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to try to rose her face a bit. Now this is the part that's the hardest to do because you want it a lot darker than you do any of this paint we put on the rest of her face, because it's got to make it through. It's the part you want to show the most when she's finished. You want to be able to see that her cheeks are rosy looking, her face is kind of redded up a little bit, and you don't want it to fade away as you're putting your other paint on top of it. So that's why I put it kind of dark. Sometimes it doesn't look all that dark because, well, it lightens as it dries and as it bakes. So if you're putting it on a certain color and when you get it out of the oven it's lighter, that's why. It's normal and natural for it to lighten up. So until you get used to exactly what color you're going to get with a color you're putting on your doll, you want to go kind of light. You don't want to make her too dark right from the beginning. You can't just slather it on in deep colors and go, well, it's going to get lighter. So, it just doesn't work like that. You want to go a little bit lighter than what you normally would want. I mean, if it's slightly darker than you want, then that's okay. It's going to lighten up a little. And if it's still workable, even if it's too dark, if it's still workable, that paint will tone it down a little bit, it's still okay. And then you don't want really hard starts and stops in your paint because it's just like red nothing. It just looks funny. You want it to feather out a bit where it looks like it's getting lighter, gone, like that. And you may not can achieve that exact look, but you can certainly soften the edges a lot with a kabuki or a sponge. You may have to change sponges if it starts getting that dirty. Okay, the only other place I have is her forehead. I like to put a little on the forehead. I just go to one side. It's what I call my signature mark. Artists have actually wrote little things, posted things, I guess you'd call it. They don't really write them, they type them, but posted things in the doll group about doing signature marks. And I always just say, just pick something you like. Maybe you're going to put a freckle on them. Maybe a birthmark. Maybe just a special way you're going to do their blushing. Every baby I've almost ever made has had this little blush on one side of their forehead like this. I don't know. It's just something I do. But she's looking pretty good, I think. These are going to have to be re-dipped. I'm just going to lay them up there. I'm going to also get the pencil. One thing you don't want to forget is to give your baby some eyebrows. Now, you don't want to do bushy eyebrows like mine. Some people do. They try to do that one little individual eyebrow, and they end up making them real big and real dark and real fat. And it doesn't look natural to me. I think babies look better with little tiny wispy eyebrows. And that's what I gave Emmy. I just make a little, I use this really light colored pencil. other than the blonde pencil, it's the lightest one there is. If you use the blonde pencil, of course, it's lighter than this, but you won't even see the eyebrows probably. I actually decided one time to make a doll completely blonde with that blonde pencil. I had to do it 6 or 7 times because it just disappeared, even after baking it and everything. So I use this pencil. It's the lightest brown color. It's called Sandbar Brown. It's kind of what you'd call sandy blonde hair or light, super light brown hair. I don't know. It's kind of in between. And I just etch them on in a tiny, skinny little line, because to me that looks the most natural. And what you want to do is you want to identify their brow line before you even start trying to put an eyebrow on. If you feel of it, you can feel there's a little, it's almost like what you have right up here, where your eye quits being soft and gooey and smashy from your actual eye in the eye socket. And you just go right up and you feel that bone. And it surrounds your whole eye all the way around. But up here at the top, it's what they call your brow ridge, kind of. And your eyebrows are right on that. It's right on that bone. You can feel it right underneath your eyebrow. So if you locate that on your doll, now she's frowning, so she's going like this. So you just make sure you're not putting it too close to the eye, but you also don't want to put it way up here on the forehead. Like in this little indented area right here, you wouldn't want to put it there. That's too high. And down here underneath, she's got a few little hairs on her. They won't make any difference. You just want to etch it. And if you follow that brow line, it's much easier to make 2 eyebrows that look alike. Because just like putting eyes in is difficult, depending on if you're right-handed or left-handed, one side's going to be harder than the other. Well, eyebrows are the same way. But if you're having trouble doing your eyebrows, now you can make this pencil as sharp or as dull as you want, but just to etch on some little eyebrows, I don't see any need to sharpen it. I'm just going to etch her on just some little skinny, little soft eyebrows, kind of like that. And there's not one on this side. If you're having trouble doing it, following the brow ridge or making the eyebrow look the same, try turning the head upside down for the second one. It does sometimes help me, sometimes not, but usually it does. But I'm just staying strictly on her brow line so that they should look almost identical. They're not going to be identical because, well, we're just not that, I'm not anyway, that artistic. I just don't do those little skinny single hair eyebrows. I mean, you can do it if you want to, but I recommend you use a very sharp pencil if you do, and make them very small and wispy. Otherwise, you get scary eyebrows. I've seen some dolls that looked absolutely fabulous, but their eyebrows were just scary looking. Kind of like mine. Mine would be scary eyebrows. Especially this part up here that's really thick. I have some ugly, ugly eyebrows. I didn't always have eyebrows like this, but I am old now, so things are different. Anyway, so that is pretty much her face. The only other thing I usually make sure I try to make sure that I do before I put them into the oven for their first bake is I use this on their lips and nails. I want lips that look like her lips at the end. They have color to them. So I want to make sure that I start early, because you have to build that color. You cannot get it from one time. It's just going to look splotchy and streaky and really, really funny looking. And you don't want that. Sit up, Emma. Anyway, I'm excited about making Emma because, you know, it's been a long time since I had an Emma. And a long time. She's been discontinued for a long time. But since we moved here, I've had a few strokes of luck. I was able to get a Presley. I got him already made. I just touched him up a little because there were some aspects to him I didn't really like. And so I did give him a little bit of a touch-up. And I got Asher Awake and Asleep. They were blank kits, and I painted them and rooted them. I also got Emma here. These are kits that they have discontinued from a long time ago because I think it's because they were 3/4 dolls. I think that's the reason they did it. They're not popular anymore. They used to be very popular. It was just nothing for the doll to have 3/4 arms. Nobody cared. Now everybody cares, it seems like. There's a few people who don't mind if they have 3/4 limbs. But almost all the artist kits. Now, Emma's not an artist kit. She is a Reborn. But they did have quite a number of Reborns that had 3/4 limbs. And Thomas, Emma, Presley, Case. Oh, I have a Case too. I'm gonna be making him. He's a Reborn too. And Asher, and there were just a bunch of them. Clyde, which, you can always change their limbs if you don't like them. But I really like Clyde's limbs. His hands, he's got two really nice open hands, and I like open hands on the doll. I know a lot of people like balled up fists, but they're just hard to paint, and they don't look as good when you're finished with them as an open hand does, to me anyway. I'm just putting a very, very thin coat on her because the goal here is not to make this one coat be her total lip color. It's just to get a start on it. And every coat we put on her, we're going to check her lips and her nails and see if they need a little bit additional put on them. And we're going to do that until we are satisfied that we like the way they look. And that's the best way to do it. Little thin coats at a time. And the color just builds up and makes a beautiful look on your doll. Be sure you get every bit of the lip that you want painted every time, or the lips will not look right. That looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to put her down, her head, and I'm going to do her nails. Now the nails are very touchy. The very first coat should be so light that maybe you don't even see it because of the fact that it can run down to the base of the nails and pull up there, and it looks like you outlined their nails with a darker color, and we don't really want that. That's not attractive on our doll. We want just pretty nails. And it's also something you have to build up. You just can't swipe a whole bunch of paint on there and go, okay, I painted the nails. It just doesn't work that way. That's why I don't understand why some people wait till the very end to start their nails. After they've completed the whole doll, they'll show it and they'll say, all I have to do now is lips and nails. And you can see their lips and their nails don't have any color on them. And I'm going, you need to build that up. What are you going to do, 5 extra bakes now just for nails and lips? I don't understand why. But everybody has their own way of doing things, I guess. And I don't have to understand their way of thinking, I guess. But I like to build mine. To me, it works better. Then you're not just going, okay, another bake because I didn't get the nails right yet. If you're getting too much on there, just wipe your brush off and redo it. Re-stroke across the nail and it'll take some of that off. I'm not even looking to be able to see this when it comes out of it. I don't even really care if I can. All we're doing is just getting some paint on there. We have about 3 more chances to get the nails right, so it won't be a problem. Three more coats of paint. Every coat that we put on, we can redo the nails. And that's the best way to do it. This paint is thicker than the paint I was brushing on to color the toes. This is this is thinning medium with some color in it. So it is a thicker type of paint. Think about if you were just opening up a jar of colored paint and you were going to just dip your brush right in the paint and paint your doll. Now, I've seen people do that. They'll dip it in the paint thinner first, then they'll dip it in the paint, then they'll re-dip it in the paint thinner, and then they'll start painting the doll. And I'm going, okay, that doesn't seem like it would work very good to me. And I like the way I do it, but I have seen people do that. I'm not recommending it or anything. I'm just saying I've seen it. Oh, I hate it when one of their fingers is covering up the other finger. Unless it covers the nail completely, because then you have that little piece of nail way up under there that you have to try to paint. And I've got that on this doll. Ooh, that's way too dark. Yeah, way up under here, she's got a little tiny piece of a nail. Oh, difficult, difficult. Okay, that's got her nails painted. Her lips are painted. I think she's ready for a bake. And when she comes out, I'm going to be probably creasing her and then redoing her lips and nails. Because I don't want to do too much at one time, but I don't want to waste a bake either. Okay, so that's going to be her first her first enhancements. So we're going to get her in for her first bake, and we'll be back whenever she's ready for another coat. So I want to remind everybody to please like, subscribe, and share, and happy reborning.